Hey guys, so for this video, I'm going to be ranking the best Fortnite players from every single country in the world. Now, as I'm sure you all know, I have not done one of these sort of rankings videos in a while now. No joke, I think the last one that I did was before Chapter 3 even came out, and then my original best from each country's video, that is over 2 years old. That's kinda crazy! Regardless, because I am down bad on content, I decided to compile a list of 40 different countries, at least 2 from every different Fortnite region, and we will be going through my picks for the best player from each. As far as criteria go, I always say this, but these rankings are solely based on competitive achievements. I don't care if someone has better mechanics than the other person, I don't care if they have more earnings from a year ago. These picks are my opinion and will focus on recent competitive tournaments because that is what determines how good they are today. Thus, drop a like down below if you enjoy these rankings videos. Also, please subscribe so we can finally hit 1.5 million. But without further ado, let's get running into it. Alright, so to begin, we're gonna go in alphabetical order. We have to start with the letter A, the country of Argentina. Now, I know a lot of you guys are gonna think that I'll say King for this. Face King is the South American goat that dominated all of Chapter 2. The thing is though, I mentioned before that these rankings are based on how good they are right now, their current and recent performances, and at the moment, the best player from Argentina is Fishy L2R2. Fishy, as you can guess from the name, is a controller demon on the Brazilian server that plays 2nd in Chapter 3 Season 1 Grands, 7th in the one after that, 3rd in Grand Royale Finals, as well as 2nd in both of the solo FNCSs. Both of them! So yes, while King may have a better and more well-rounded career, the title of best Argentinian Fortnite player right now goes to Fishy. Moving on to Australia, I think this one has to go to Alex. Do you guys remember that cracked out 13-year-old that I coached a few months back? Well, I was not kidding when I said that he is the best 13-year-old in the entire world. You see, after I made that coaching video with CEO Alex, he went on to win this season's OCE Grand Finals, finish 2nd in last season's, and either win or finish top 3 in, no joke, 12 different events. That's only been in 4 months. Therefore, even though I'm a little biased on this one, I feel like we can all agree that Alex is the young king of Australia. And speaking of kings, up next is Austria, with its best player having to be Aqua. Aqua is without a doubt the king of Europe when he wants to be. What I mean by that is that Aqua usually cannot play months at a time. He has to take these very long breaks because of his wrist injuries. Yet, even without putting his 100% in all of the time, he still won Chapter 3 Season 2 Grand Finals, won numerous duo cash cups, and most impressive to me, he will take high ground at any time he wants, no matter the meta or who is currently on top. Onto Brazil though, this was kind of hard since Brazil really does have a ton of insane players. I actually had to go and talk to some insider analysts, people that watch Brazil and follow the scene a lot, and after my talks with them, I gotta give the title to 33 Ed. Ed, or Ed Road to Glory, is the #1 PR player in Brazil right now. Funnily enough, he actually just played a cash cup with King for fun. But let me just list some of this kid's insane accomplishments. He finished 2nd in Grands this season, 4th in the one before that, 1st in literally 4 different cash cups in a row. He won last week's solo and trio cash cup. The kid basically places in whatever game mode he wants to, and that's kind of why I gave him the edge here. After Brazil though, my 5th country on the list is Canada, not Canada, Canada, and the top Canuck has to be Miro. Miro, just like Aqua, is one of the most naturally gifted Fortnite players I think ever. Like, he currently holds the most FNCS wins on the entire NAE server. That does not even include the 2nd place he just got, or you know, the 3rd place before it. But no troll, Miro barely touches the game outside of tournaments. In fact, from what I've heard, he's apparently radiant on Valorant, even though he's a controller player in Fortnite and has only ever played controller. Like, what? So yeah, shout out to Scented, Iamzo, Pam, Sue, Fatch. There are so many good Canadian Fortnite pros, but I'm just sorry guys, I can't not give this to Miro. Still on the letter C, Colombia is our next country to cover, and Krizix, another C in the name, he is the best player there. Now, I don't think Krizux or Krizix currently lives in Colombia. I think he lives in the US currently. However, that is where he was born, and that's his nationality. As far as his placements go, Krizix is not an FNCS winner per se. However, he is still a top competitor on the NA West region. He just recently finished top 15 in Grands with Jelty, top 16 in Chapter 3 Season 1 Grands, again with Jelty, and he almost won Grand Royale Finals with, of course, Jelty again. Final country of the letter C, another pretty small one. It might actually be the smallest country yet. It is Croatia, and its best player is Jerky. Jerky, aka the Chapter 2 Season 6 FNCS winner on EU. Jerky did not have the greatest start to Chapter 3. Like, he was still placing pretty consistently in cash cups. I mean, he still does, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But it just did not seem like him when, out of nowhere, he did not qualify for Chapter 3 Season 1 and Chapter 3 Season 2 Grands. All good though, because since then, Jerky has broken the curse. He qualified for the most recent Grand Finals, did pretty decent, and then actually like 1 or 2 weeks ago, he just won the Duo Cash Cup with his new Duo Vico. Jerky is officially back. As for my favorite letter, the letter D, Denmark is probably the most stacked country in the world when it comes to Fortnite talent. They have a Nos, Trippern, Flois, Hellfire. They used to have Flick before he quit, but let's all be real here, none of them compare to Thomas HD. Thomas, when you think about it, he's probably the best player ever to never win an FNCS. This man finished 3rd in the first 2 Grands this chapter, 6th in the most recent one, and then 3rd again in Grand Royale Finals. So Thomas, if you watch this, even though you practically win every other cash cup, I will not make the same mistake as I did before, and I will give you the rank of the #1 Danish player. Last time he kinda called me out on Twitter. Sorry. Oh, and on the topic of stacked-ass countries, England is another absolute powerhouse. There's Pink, Hen, Nebs, Archie, there used to be Veggie Fishy, rest in peace. There are a ridiculous amount of top British pros, but the player I personally think is best is Vino. I actually made a video with Vino a while back. We 1v1'd in Realistics, and no joke guys, he was the best fighter I had ever faced, and this was while he was on 90 ping, and before he even really popped off in Grands. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. Vino has proved himself numerous times, including winning Chapter 3 Season 2 Grands with Aqua, coming 3rd in this season's Grands with Queasy, as well as what a ton of people know him for, barely losing out to Tayson in All-Star Grands. Man oh man, do I miss that season. Boys, we're kind of on a roll here with top level countries, top tier talent that is, as up next we have France. For France, you guys could easily make the argument that the best player there is Clement or maybe Deceptos. You could even say it's DKS or Art Skill or Bad Sniper. All of those are really good answers, especially because they all have really similar placements. But for myself, I am going with the OG GOAT, Andalex. Andalex admittedly has not been the best this chapter. If you guys remember, he was absolutely unstoppable back in the day. Early Chapter 2, he dominated. But like, the kid is still insane. He qualified for every Grands this chapter on the hardest server EU. He also won a couple different cash cups, still consistently places in the money. So yeah, I get that he's not as dominant as he once was. But again, this is the best player from each country, and Andalex, at least to me, is the best Frenchman. Alright, time for a little rapid fire since we have some countries that are kind of smaller and not as stacked as the ones we just mentioned. Beginning with Finland, Rifla is the only right choice. Rifla was a part of BL or Become Legends up until a few weeks ago. He's always qualifying for EU Grands, and he's just on the brink of getting that top 10 or top 5 placement. Then Germany, we're gonna skip Germany for now just because Germany might be the most stacked EU country in terms of talent. So that means we will go over to India. For being as big as it is, India really does not have a ton of tier 1 pros. I believe the reason is because they really do not get good ping to Middle East. They used to have their own server, if you guys remember that, but then Epic took it away. Regardless, I have to pick someone, and my choice is a controller demon named Gary. Gary, or Glizzy Gary, is by far one of the most consistently placing Middle East pros, and he plays on 50 plus ping from India. He qualified for Middle East Grands, he won the Middle East Console Champions Cup, and you know, just because it still is impressive, he has by far the most Indian PR. Going to another I country, Ireland is more of a top-heavy nation when it comes to Fortnite talent. They have standout players like Savid and Nipsey, but the best, the number one Irishman has to be Playwell Coop. Not to be confused with the NA Coop. Coop with an E at the end is not a controller player. Rather, he is a keyboard IGL that qualified for Chapter 3 Season 1 Grands, and he actually did it with another Irish player named Fraction. They're like the Irish triple threat. Back to Germany though, we're going to slow it down before we again pick up the pace. Germany is going to be our first tie. You see, Germany, for those of you that do not know, Germany is where the EU tournament servers are located, and because of that, German players have hard zero ping, just like Virginia players do for NA East. That is why my pick for the best German players is actually a duo. It is the reigning FNCS champions of Vadil and Janice Z. Now guys, do I really have to explain why these two are so damn good? Sure, I could list their accomplishments prior to winning FNCS, such as winning numerous duo cash cups, the deal popping off on LAN, even them doing well with other really good German pros like Rezon. But let me save my breath, because these guys are not only the best in Germany, they are the best in all of Europe. Made by Zero Ping. The next 5 or so countries I'm gonna cover are very small, not small enough where I won't include them, but like small enough where I don't need to spend 5 minutes talking about each pick. So we are picking up the pace again, starting off with Italy. Italy's best player, in my opinion, is someone named Belusi. Belusi actually had a really recent pop-off, and what I mean by that is he really was not known prior to Chapter 3. Don't ask me how the hell he got so good, I really do not know, but right after Chapter 3 dropped, he qualified for all 3 EU Grand Finals, and in the most recent one, he nearly got his first ever top 10. Following up Italy will be Japan, and their standout player has to be Zagu. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, I probably am not, but Zagu is an absolute demon. This kid literally placed top 3 in every single solo and duo cash cup last month. That includes winning 2 of them in a row, and probably most important is he won his first ever Grands. I told you he wins everything! Oh, and you know who else does? The best player from Kuwait, GHC Rapid. Rapid, just like Zagu, is the reigning FNCS champion on his region. He plays on the Middle East, and in total, he has won double-digit events in Chapter 3 alone. Last of the smaller countries, don't worry, we are still in alphabetical order. It is Latvia, and for this, there is nobody else to pick outside of Merstash. Merstash, as you guys hopefully know by now, is Malibuca's duo, and he is, in my opinion, the most underrated player in the world. Like, everyone knows how good Malibuca is. He just finished second in Grands, he won the Saudi Arabian LAN, as well as what seems to be every other cash cup, but I feel like people forget, Merstash has all the same accolades. He places in solos, on LAN, obviously in duos with Malibuca. People just need to realize that without Merstash, Malibuca would not be as dominant as he is. So yeah, we're just about halfway through the countries list at this point. We are literally at the middle letter of the alphabet, M, and that means Mexico is next in line. Now, when it comes to Mexico, 2 players immediately come to mind. The first is Jelty. Jelty es el mejor. But then the other player I think of, the one who is the current best in Mexico, it's without a doubt Snacky. Snacky, outside of maybe Reet and Epic Whale, is far above literally every other player on NA West. He won back-to-back FNCS Grand Finals this chapter, he placed 3rd in the most recent one, won 3 separate cash cups in a row, and not surprising to anyone, was just as dominant on LAN. Snacky Legana! Onto the end countries, we now have the Netherlands, and unfortunately, Mitro is no longer the king. You see, Mitro basically quit competitive Fortnite. I don't really blame him, he followed Mongrel's path. But that means there is a new best Dutch pro, and it is Marijn. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned Marijn on my channel before, specifically how good he is at solos, but just this chapter, he has emerged as an extremely well-rounded and top player. Marijn won the original DreamHack Sweden LAN, he qualified to every Grands this chapter, and you know, just to prove that solos are still his strong suit, he won a solo cash cup, as well as just qualified to a round 2 the day I'm recording this. Remaining on the letter N, we're going to go to a different region, OCE this time, and we're going to check out New Zealand. New Zealand, for those of you that do not follow OCE, really does not have a ton of top tier talent. I don't know if it's because they have a way smaller population than Australia, or maybe there's just some ping or internet issues, but honestly, Tui is the only one deserving of this spot. Tui finished 3rd in Chapter 3 Season 2 Grands. He won Grand Royale with Alex, the best player in Australia, and even without playing any solo tournaments, he's like me, he doesn't even turn his PC on for them. Tui remains top 20 in both earnings and PR in all of OCE. Ending off the N countries, Norway is our target, and Mr. Savage is the only right answer. Like, come on guys, do I really have to explain why? Savage is basically the only EU OG left. He still streams everything, he still consistently qualifies for every Grands and every solo tournament, he also still pops off in solos on LAN, and I mean, he's Mr. Savage. He is easily the best Norwegian. And speaking of shoo-ins, when it comes to the country Pakistan, Helan's team, or OT Helan, is by far the clear pick. Helan is actually Rapid's duo. Remember, Rapid is the Middle Eastern demon from Kuwait. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly earlier. Oh god. Did I say Kuwait? But either way, these two dominate the Middle East. Helan just won FNCS Grands, he also won Grand Royale Finals, almost won Chapter 3 Season 1 Grands, and for some weird reason, I don't want to jinx him, but I have a sneaking suspicion he's gonna win the next Middle Eastern Grands. Let's see if I'm right. Moving on to Poland. Poland is actually our second tie because I honestly just could not choose between Cami and Seti. This Become Legends duo, just like Janice and Vidil, they basically share all the same accomplishments. In fact, not only do they share all the same duo ones, including 5th in Grands, 1st in numerous Cash Cups and FNCS qualifiers, 1st in even trio tournaments like the recent Quick Cup, or Chapter 2 Season 8 Grands, which they won, and 2nd in Grand Royale Finals, but these guys also have the same solo accomplishments. They literally landed right next to each other in solos. They did not team, so don't say that. But Seti won the DreamHack LAN tournament, and Cami came 2nd. How insane is that? Therefore, because these two demons have the same playstyle, the same achievements, even the same org, they are both the best in Poland. Now guys, I can't lie, up next is Portugal, and I really don't know who to pick. I, no joke, researched a ton of different tournaments, including EU Grands, and no Portuguese player has made Grands in like 4 or 5 seasons. Even worse than that, I just went and checked, and none of them even have more than 10k PR. Like, what has happened? Has every good Portuguese player just quit? So I guess if you follow Portuguese Fortnite, go and comment who you think the best is down below. I will just say HyperX since he's the only player I kind of know, and he's got like the most PR. You know who also has a lot of PR? A man from the country of Romania, the absolute demon named itsJerian. itsJerian, who for some reason was named Zero without Chapix, he must have lost a bet. itsJerian has been absolutely on fire in Chapter 3. He just finished 4th in the most recent EU FNCS Grand Finals, 9th in the one before that, top 25 at the LAN I just talked about, that's the one Seti won, as well as other top 10s in numerous solo and duo Cash Cups, so many that I just can't count them all. I guess he's really not Zero without Chapix, huh? Right near Romania, the next country on my list is Russia. Guys, if you're not thinking of Malibuka right now, then I honestly don't know what to tell you. I should slap you. Malibuka, like I said before while explaining Mustache, he is just the best in the world. Malibuka finished 2nd in Grands, won nearly $500,000 at the Saudi Arabian LAN. He also wins every trio event with Tayson, has won like 2 or 3 different solo Cash Cups, duo events as well. It just doesn't stop. Malibuka owns Russia. Oh, and on the topic of Saudi Arabia and the Middle East, the best Saudi Arabian player is a kid named Falcon Cal. Cal is not an FNCS winner, at least not yet, but man oh man has he gotten close. Cal came 2nd in Trio Grand Finals, 4th in 2 different Duo Grand Finals, 7th in Chapter 3 Season 3, and 1st in a ton of Cash Cups. Therefore, as long as Cal can keep up his consistency, there's no reason he cannot win the Middle Eastern FNCS, as well as continue to be the best player in Saudi Arabia. But Jerian, what about the best in the world? Well, little Timmy, the next two countries arguably have those players, starting with Serbia and Queasy. Queasy, after Aqua, is straight up the king of high ground. He won Chapter 3 Season 1 Grand Finals, finished 3rd this season with Vino, 8th in the one before that, won the Primal Season FNCS, and even came 3rd in Grand Royale Finals. If you kind of think about it, nobody really contests Queasy, especially on high ground, except for Tayson. Tayson is not from Serbia. He is from an even smaller country called Slovenia, and they just happen to be the next country up alphabetically. Isn't that funny? No, but for real, Tayson is the Fortnite GOAT. He won 4 different grand finals in the hardest region in the world, EU. He performs in every single game mode and every different meta. I would not be surprised if he just told us he is a robot sent to Earth to dominate EU Fortnite. He's that good! Now, as much as I want to go and skip straight ahead to Sweden, since Sweden is home to Tayson's duo, I just cannot skip over Spain. Spain, kind of like Portugal, really does not have a ton of Tier 1 pros left. Obviously, they have good players, and they have had Tier 1 pros in the past, but I don't think any Spanish player has made or placed well in any grand finals in Chapter 3. That is not good. Therefore, I guess I'll give this to Clash Crazy. He has the most Spanish PR this year, but if you guys know someone better from Spain, let me know them down below. Anyways, finally going over to Sweden. I did kind of spoil this one when I mentioned Tayson's duo, but for those that do not know who that is, it's the one and only HyperX. HyperX is a 2-time FNCS winner, a 16-time Cash Cup winner, yes, 16 different Cash Cups. He also happens to be Tayson's duo, which to me is like a crazy achievement in and of itself. He's duoing with the Fortnite GOAT, so like, even though he and Tayson did not have the greatest Grands placement this season, all they need is to not be 50-50'd off spawn, and I straight up promise you guys, they will win the next FNCS. For the end of the S's, we have the country of Switzerland, and we actually have a pretty difficult choice to make. On one side, you have FocusRite, definitely the overall Swiss GOAT. He placed 3rd in Primal Season Grands, that was with Tayson. He also won the UEFA Cup, won a ton of different dream hacks, and I mean, still to this day, he consistently places in stuff even after taking a long break. But boys, on the other side of it, you have Noah Riley, who yes, is from Switzerland. I know all of his friends are German, but he is Swiss, and Noah technically does have the slightly better recent performances. Therefore, if you want my answer, it's gonna have to be Noah Riley. I do love you for ZR, but I gotta give the advantage to Noah because I love his mechanics. Sorry. Second to last letter now. No, not country, but letter. It is the not the United States just yet. It's the United Arab Emirates, and we'll be looking at their best player named Kuki. Kuki is an OG Middle Eastern FNCS winner. He won all the way back in Chapter 2 Season 5, which like, really is not that long ago, but considering it's almost a full chapter ago, we're all just old. Regardless, Kuki has continued to place extremely highly on the Middle Eastern server. He finished 6th in Grands this season, won the Booga Cup, finished extremely highly in a ton of different solo and duo Cash Cups, and actually just in this chapter, finished top 7 in both other FNCS Grands. Okay, United States now, right? No, not quite just yet. Our next new country is Ukraine. Now, as I'm sure you all know, Ukraine has had a ton of stuff going down with it, mainly relating to Russia, and as a result of this, playing Fortnite in Ukraine, especially at a high level, it's just not possible. Pretty much every single pro is forced to leave. These kids were straight up displaced from their home country and forced to move elsewhere, yet somehow still through all of that, StormyRite still manages to place and be the best player in Ukraine. Just for some quick achievements, StormyRite won the EU FNCS Grand Finals in Chapter 3 Season 1. That was with Kiriachi, who no longer plays the game. He also won Chapter 2 Season 7 Trio Grands, and then after literally being forced to move out of his own country, StormyRite once again qualified for Grands this season. Shout out to Ukraine! Finally though, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you all have been waiting for, the United States of America. Who am I gonna pick for this? Will it be Epic Whale, the GOAT of NA West? Will it be the current FNCS winner Commandment? Or will it be the World Cup winner Booga? Well, it's actually none of them. Sorry I let you on. I picked Zextro instead. No, come on. Booga is arguably the Fortnite GOAT, so of course he's going to be the best player from America. Like, on top of just winning the Fortnite Solo World Cup, Booga has placed no less than top 3 in every single grand finals this chapter. He won back-to-back-to-back grands, starting from Chapter 2 Season 8, and if you think about it, he single-handedly brought to Fortnite the greatest game mode to ever exist, Booga or Late Game Arena. So yes, I may be kind of biased since I'm a huge Booga fanboy, but I'm curious, what do you guys think down below? Wait a minute, we're not done quite yet. That is because we have one final country remaining, one letter, and it is the tiny country of Wales. So, who's the best Welsh player? To me, it's gotta be the player with the absolute best accent in all of EU, Joe FN. Joe is currently Zandy's duo. Zandy is the demon from Romania, and together they finished top 10 in last season's grands, as well as 4th in this season's ones. Joe consistently places in all game modes, and because he has the best accent, as well as his from the country with the coolest flag, he is gonna round out our list. So yeah guys, that concludes who I think are the best players from each country. I will give a quick shout out to countries and players that did not make the list. These are really small countries like Bosnia. Shout out to Chico from there. We also have Bubak from Slovakia, Karito Kun from Bahrain, Soriano from Syria, whatever other demons I have missed, shout out to you guys. And I mean, other than that, let me know any countries I left out. Let me know what you think I was right or wrong about. Please drop a like and subscribe. And yeah, later.